This. For the last 4 years, we saw the same picture. 4 years ago, 2019 season, the Baltimore Ravens, they were the 1 seed in the AFC. Now, stay with me. I'm taking this somewhere. Then not only were they the 1 seed in the AFC, but that year, 4 years ago, Lamar Jackson, he won an MVP. And then how did that season end? Well, it ended with the Chiefs and the Niners in the Super Bowl. Now, cut to 2023. 4 years later, the Baltimore Ravens, once again, they're the 1 seed. You see the 2023 season. What's happening this year? What's he going to do? I think first another MVP trophy. Was in the Super Bowl, not the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Niners. So although the Ravens did a whole lot of running, jumping, and hitting this season, I got to be honest with you. I wish I could lie. I wish I could. But the Ravens season fell short. I suggest it was a waste of time heading to the death. LaShawn McCoy, Roy Taylor, James Jones. Let there be light, they say.
Congratulations, Manuel, by the way. Making the Pro Bowl, Shady.
Everybody making a Pro Bowl.
You know what I'm disappointed? Because now they might start like looking down on the Pro Bowls. And people like me, that really had to go out there and get them Pro Bowls.
For context, I don't want to keep you out here. Gardner Minshew was announced that he made the Pro Bowl. Baker Mayfield announced that he made the Pro Bowl because several starters are sitting out. Guys like Lamar Jackson, guys like Patrick Mahomes, amongst others.
Oh, they just said that Mike Thomas is going to be in the Pro Bowl as a tight end. Yup. Everybody get Pro Bowl. What are we doing?
We will get to that later in the show. But for now, Shady, let's talk about the Super Bowl. Let's talk about that bowl game, if you will. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, they're not going to be playing in it. I suggest it was a waste of a season. To bring us back to the game, I think they fell short. Not only did they fall short objectively, I think what is the point in playing if you are Lamar Jackson if you're not getting to a Super Bowl? What's the point in having a 1 seed if you're not going to capitalize on that 1 seed and finish the season as the number 1 team in your conference? What is the point in all of it if it's not going to, if nothing is going to come of it? So where I'm standing, Shady, it was a waste of a season. But Big Dog, what you say? You won 2 Super Bowls. You know it.
You know, I gotta disagree with you.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, your quarterback won MVP.
True.
You got paid. Most times when players get paid, I'm guilty of it as well. When you get paid that year, you don't do well. I'm going to say. The next year, that's when you ball out. But not for the Ravens. The quarterback took this team to the AFC Championship game. We can't have the AFC Championship game as nothing. That's a big deal. That's a big accomplishment. And then if they didn't win this game, I'll be upset. They didn't win the game. But why I can't be too upset is you lost to Patrick Mahomes. That's Andy Reid. This is the best duo since Brady and Lil Bill. Since then. So now it's like if he lost to Josh Allen, if he lost to Joe Burrow, I got a problem with that.
Sure.
Because y'all on the same level. All y'all on the same level. But Patrick Mahomes on another level. And you look at the Chiefs team, they look way different back then to right now.
Sure.
Playoff game, clock's ticking. They're different.
But Shady, in what world, please break this down for me, Mr. Future Hall of Fame, I believe you are. In what world is losing okay?
It's never
You lost the pass.
Never okay.
I don't care. If
Okay.
you're on the field with Adrian Peterson, I still expect you to have more rushing yards. If you're on the field with Marshawn Lynch, I still expect you to have more rushing yards. If you're on the field with Arian Foster in his prime, Matt Forte in his prime, if you're on the field with them dudes, I still expect you to have more rushing yards.
Should have stayed with the AP. I got the other guys.
No doubt about it.
This is what I'm saying, though. AP is not no Tom Brady. AP is not no Patrick Mahomes. He's great, but he ain't that. So it's like, for example, one of my favorite players, obviously, is Michael Jordan. But I used to love Charles Barkley. That was just my guy. And at the time, he won MVP. I want to say in 93.
Yeah, I believe it was 93.
Right? They played the Suns.
Yeah. 92 or 93 season.
He lost to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said was, yo, I finally found a guy that I'm just not better than. And that's what we're living in today. From the Brady's down to Patrick Mahomes. So I get what you're saying. As a competitor, I want to beat him. I'm going to be better than him. Yeah, but there's one thing to it, man. It's called reality. And my thing is, Pat and Andy Reid together on another dimension, another planet. So I'm not okay with it, but I can justify it. Losing to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs compared to anybody else.
So from this point forward, let me get clarity, at least at the desk, at least for you, Shady.
Let me get to
From this point forward, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, even if they lose to Patrick Mahomes, it's still a successful season because it's Patrick Mahomes.
Because same thing with the New England Patriots. When Tom was running things here and there, you're gonna have somebody win a little championship, win a little playoff game. But for a while, it was all Brady. Every year, you're thinking, yo, the Patriots are gonna be in the AFC Championship game. That's the same thing with the Chiefs. This is 6 in a row. It's ain't a coincidence. And then next year, the sad part is they might be even better next year. And if I said, yo, they're going to go to the AFC Championship game next year, what would you say? Of course. So what are we talking about? Lamar be back? And the meantime, James, Cancun on 3. It's warmer than Baltimore.
But this was not a successful season for the Baltimore Ravens. And the main reason why I say that, individually, sure, you got a star wide receiver in Zay Flowers. It's his rookie.
He's young.
He'll get better. He's young. Your quarterback, new system, played really well. Gonna win a second MVP. Individually, defense, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen,
Kyle Hamilton.
My goodness, all pros, all three of them.
Yeah.
Right? So, a lot of good things individually. Every season we come in to the football season is 5 or 6 teams to where we say is Super Bowl or bust.
Talk to me.
Niners, Bills, Eagles was up there because they just came off. We still up there. We just came off of a Super Bowl, right? The Jets were up there because Aaron Rodgers and that defense, and the Ravens were up there. So anything less than a Super Bowl in Baltimore with how good this football team was, that is an unsuccessful football season. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes. You have Patrick Mahomes at the bank in your backyard with a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and you are the best team all year in football. And Patrick Mahomes' team at one point might have been the worst team in football the way they were playing. So this is an unsuccessful season, in my humble opinion, for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens because they fell short of the Super Bowl, and that was the main goal. Some people had them as their Super Bowl pick to win this thing. And to not get there, I don't care what you accomplish individually, as a team, to fall short of the Super Bowl was an unsuccessful season for the Baltimore Ravens. You could not tell me that they didn't think they was going to the Super Bowl. They probably already had, hey, y'all, when we was in the NFC Championship, we was playing the Giants. A bunch of my people was like, man, we want to come. Don't come to this one. We going to the Super Bowl next week. Who's quarterback? We went home.
Eli Manning's over there?
Yep.
He ain't Pat. You wouldn't never.
Pat, they still beat us.
You wouldn't.
Tom is your greatest. And you beat Tom twice.
You wouldn't fix your mouth to say that about Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to fix my mouth.
He beat Tom Brady twice. That's how my dad, I get traced back.
Was it a success, Joy? Raven season.
In a zero-sum game, no. If your only goal this season was to win a Super Bowl, then no, you failed at that. But only one team is going to win a Super Bowl, so that means only one team is going to have a successful season. That seems very limiting. Yes, everyone who is in that position should be striving to achieve the ultimate goal. But I do think building blocks matter as well. The process matters as well. There has to be some level of positivity that's allowed between ultimate failure, right, and the ultimate success. Somewhere in the middle there is where the Ravens season lies for me. Because Lamar Jackson
They were running the football effectively. With Montgomery and Gibbs coming out of the backfield, they were running roughshod over the San Francisco 49ers. Not only were the San Francisco 49ers getting beat, they were getting punked. They looked soft. They looked like they were being run over. They looked like they were being mauled by a much more physical Detroit Lions team. But then Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant himself, showed why that label no longer applies to him. The brother's something special, y'all. 267 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 48 yards rushing, 3 for 3 for 52 yards rushing, 3 or 4 passing for about 42 yards passing in pressurized scrambling situations. Every one of those plays was for a first down. That's what clutch is when you're down 24/7. That's what clutch is when you're on your home turf and you got the governor of California in the house with the commissioner and everybody else, and everybody and their grandmama is watching you, and you down 24/7 and get ready to get blown out of your own stadium. About an hour and 15 minutes away from San Francisco, even though you call yourself the San Francisco 49ers, but you in Santa Clara. Different subject for another day. My point is, there was every reason to sit back and feel such an immense level of pressure that you panic and fold. That's not what happened. Instead, Brock Purdy rose to the occasion. Brandon Ayuk rose to the occasion. Deebo Samuel rose to the occasion. And my God, Christian McCaffrey rose to the occasion. He's something special. And in case y'all haven't remembered what I've said in the past, when I brought up the name Christian McCaffrey, I called it reverse discrimination. Because I said if he were a black running back, we would have been talking about him in a much more pristine fashion years ago. He comes out of Stanford rushing for over 2,000 yards. And we were still acting like there was cats better than him until he rolled up to the NFL and he was balling out for the Carolina Panthers. But now he's in the system and with a coach in Kyle Shanahan who really, really knows what he's doing. And as a result, San Francisco has ascended. And they come back from a 24-7 deficit and they go on a 27-0 spree. Go up 34-24 before Detroit scores that touchdown in the waning moments and tried an onside kick that ultimately failed. In the end, props to the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell shouldn't have went for it for a 4th and 2. Okay? But he didn't ask Reynolds to drop the damn ball. Okay, he went for a 4th down and Goff hit Reynolds again. He drops the pass. Would have been an easy first down. You got to kick that field goal. You got to take those 3 points. All of these things are true. But in the end, when you look at Detroit's talent, you got to give them props where props is due. Remember, coming into the NFC Championship game, they had one playoff victory. Before these playoffs began, they had one playoff victory since 1957. And that came in 1991. It was over 30 years since these dudes won a playoff game. And this team went to the NFC Championship game and came within 30 minutes of a Super Bowl berth. They blew it, no doubt about it, but it doesn't mean that team doesn't have tremendous promise and they won't be back. That's my take on what transpired on Championship Weekend this past Sunday.
These are game managers. They're not difference makers.
The 49ers are going to the Super Bowl.
Brock Purdy went from everyone's favorite story last year as Mr. Irrelevant, who then became highly relevant in the Bay Area, to it should be a quarterback competition between him and Trey Lance, to game manager, to MVP, to definitely not an MVP, to difference maker. The media has no idea what the narrative should be on this guy, and he's leading a team to a Super Bowl in just his second season, joining Dan Marino, Kurt Warner, Ben Roethlisberger, Colin Kaepernick, and Russell Wilson as the only quarterbacks to ever lead their teams to a Super Bowl in just their second season. I'd say that's pretty good company to be in. Before we get to the content, please be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and help the channel grow. We're coming up on 600 subscribers. I'm so grateful to every single one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you a million times over. Now that that's out of the way,
I'm sorry it took till the end. We find you very relevant, but you are going to be Mr. Irrelevant.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. Honestly, man, I'm ready to roll for y'all, so let's do it.
Brock Purdy was taken last in the 2022 NFL Draft, came into the 2022 season as the third-string quarterback behind Trey Lance, who the 49ers traded up to take number 3 overall in the 2021 NFL Draft, and Jimmy Garoppolo, who had previously taken the 49ers to a Super Bowl and was widely regarded as a quality quarterback who just had the misfortune of injury. Coming into the 2022 season, Trey Lance was the starter for the San Francisco 49ers. Then he suffered a season-ending injury in Week 2. Then Jimmy Garoppolo took over as the starter until he suffered a season-ending injury in Week 13. And then Brock Purdy came in and lit the league on fire. 13 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 67% completion percentage, a 107.3 rating. Took his team to the NFC Championship game and then got injured himself. This year, Brock Purdy found himself in the MVP conversation. That only led to significant criticism from former NFL MVP Cam Newton. Cam Newton described Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott, both who were considered MVP candidates at the time, as game managers. This led me to think about the careers of Cam Newton and Brock Purdy, the differences and similarities. And to be honest, there aren't any similarities. Brock Purdy threw for more yards in his second season than Cam Newton ever had. Brock Purdy's worst season rating is better than Cam Newton's best season rating, and Brock Purdy is only in his second year. Brock Purdy had a better completion percentage this season than Cam Newton has ever had. Cam Newton had a single season where he threw fewer interceptions than Brock Purdy, and that was only by 1 interception. All right, you want to talk rushing? Cam Newton's way better, not even close. And true, I would never describe Cam as a game manager, but I would describe him as a system quarterback. Cam Newton's MVP season, his best season in his entire career, was the season where Mike Shula went back, looked at film of what Auburn did to make Cam Newton successful, and incorporated it in the Carolina Panthers. You know, I think that's smart, good business. I think it's a good idea. I really think that's what every offensive coordinator should do. Find whatever it is that makes your quarterback the most successful and do it. But outside of Ron Rivera and Mike Shula, Cam Newton was never successful in the NFL. Cam Newton was terrible in Bill Belichick's offense. He came back to the Panthers for 1 season and really wasn't even the starter.
Some major news out of Allen Park today, and it's good news.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast.
Shady built that inbox himself. All right, family, we are in second and short. Niners, they Chiefs, they both took home W's. Huge players make big-time plays. My favorite conversation of the day as we celebrate them with y'all tuning in. Who really was the biggest winner from this all? Coach, player, team. Who stood out, Joy? Who was the biggest winner from Championship Sunday?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. I love it. Brock Purdy. Okay, a little Purdy.
Listen, we don't mention this anymore because why the hell would we? But he was the last pick in the draft.
Very last, nobody behind me.
They're not even calling it Mr. Irrelevant anymore. I bet your team's gonna pay a little closer attention to the last pick in the draft moving forward. He was the last pick in the draft.
And he gonna have 2 parades in 1 year, possible? Does he get a parade if you're Mr. Irrelevant, right? Don't they like drive you through the city or something? Parade?
Well, he don't have a parade in Iowa if they win, just because he's from Iowa State. I know
He played in the Super Bowl. That's crazy, Shady. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. Because think about it. Like we don't even mention, there's a reason why we call him Mr. Irrelevant. We don't talk about this player. And we don't even bring it up anymore because it doesn't matter. We talk about where you were drafted for certain players and stuff, and that's why you get extra chances. But he has completely erased that. He's also erased most of the narrative about him. Because at the end of the day, however he plays, he wins games. And he's doing it at a high level with a lot of talent around him. Did he play a perfect game? No. No. We could even get into arguments about which quarterback was better. But at the end of the day, this is, at this point in the season, a zero-sum game. You win or you lose. If you win, you're going to the Super Bowl, which is where he's taking this team. On top of that, remember, this was a team that used 3 first-round draft picks on somebody else who is no longer with the team. So I don't know. He earned himself probably $200 million. He is going to be a household name in 2 weeks if he isn't already. So I don't know how there is a bigger winner than Brock Purdy.
I love that Brock Purdy answer. I will see that Brock Purdy answer. I won't raise you, but I will add to you.
I know.
Kyle Shanahan.
I don't totally disagree because that Trey Lance thing is for Guy. I will know nothing about
that part. I got Shanahan as my 1A. I have Brock Purdy as my 1B. True story. Because when I think about it, Joy makes a great point. If Kyle Shanahan would have missed on Purdy along with Lance, he's likely not the coach anymore. The only way you can miss on a number 1 overall pick of that magnitude is if you connect later on. You can't miss and miss twice. So the fact that he connected with Brock Purdy is huge. But then Kyle Shanahan's resume is nearly without being able to poke that. He just got to win that shit. You go to 4 conference championships in 5 years. We laud Mahomes because he's gone to 6 in 6 years. Hard to do. But 4 conference championships in 5 years, 2 Super Bowls as a head coach in 5 years, 3 Super Bowls total in 8 years. Now you went to a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator, Super Bowl as a head coach, Super Bowl as a head coach. Then look at Shanahan's resume. It's Hall of Fame level. You have Robert Griffin, you win Offensive Rookie of the Year with him. You have Brock Purdy, you take him to a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo, you take him to a Super Bowl. Matt Schaub, you make him a Pro Bowler. He's proven himself, in my mind, officially, to Matt Ryan, an MVP. He's a top 2 coach in football right now, only behind Andy Reid. I fervently believe so, because your best coach, he beat this year. Whoever your best coach is, outside of Andy Reid.
Question. If he loses, what are your thoughts on Kyle Shanahan? Great ever winning a Super Bowl.
If he loses, it's unfortunate, but like to Joy's point, I have to say this. If we're going to give these different players grace, the Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrow, I'm not giving them grace. I'm not. I don't even want to couch it, but I will say this. Kyle Shanahan's brilliant because I love the way he worked. A person of great talent hits a mark that nobody else can hit. A person of great genius hits a mark that nobody else can see. I believe Kyle Shanahan's a genius because he said, okay, everybody else is paying their quarterbacks a ton of money and then just holding on to their roster for dear life until they can no longer. Shanahan's like, you know what? I'm just going to have incredible talent around my QB, and I'm going to be the guy who makes my QB a QB.
Yeah, but he tried to go get him a Super Bowl.
He tried, and he missed.
You know what I'm saying? It just somehow happened like that.
I was going to say, up until now, that's only gotten you to the dance.
That's
correct. But here's the beauty of it is, outside of Andy Reid, because Andy is here, the last 5 years, Shanahan's resume is better than everybody else. And you can say the last 8 years. So I agree with Joy, I agree with James on that. But I will also say, like, outside of the Andy.
You do your thing. We'll match you with a tax expert just right for your unique situation. And they'll do your taxes for you. Get TurboTax Live full service.
The Kyle Shanahan way is the second best model.
But even the standard for him now, it changed, right? That's the reason why we give Coach Mike McCarthy so much grief, right? Because you win in the regular season and you do not get it done in the postseason. That's why we give. So you continue to keep getting to this point and not winning the big one, and we're gonna keep showing him some grace.
To me, though, if you get like McCarthy, don't even win in the playoffs these days. With all due respect, like Shanahan's playoff record the last 5 years is still crazy. You got to be like 8-3. It's got to be something wild. Anyway, go ahead. I hate to get rude, but I'm ready to go. Go ahead. We talking about losers right now.
I watched my boy, right? Talk about a guy that's losing. He's kidding. He ain't winning. He's parading this dude around. Kyle did this. He did that. I want to talk about some winners. Right? Travis Kelce's winning. He's winning on the field.
And where else?
He is winning off the field.
Might be winning
right?
off.
He catching $1 million catches. And at the end of the game, catch. He's catching a billion. What are we talking about? Talking about Kyle Shanahan? Listen. All week, all year, I watch people on TV. I watch people on this desk talk about he's so distracted. Could he win? And my boy heard that. Heard that. And what he do? He showed up. Attitude at 11 targets for 11 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. And a win. So, I'm not talking about the lose. That's all winners. That's my Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. He's my winner. It starts with him. Without him, they don't get to where they're at. Super Bowl. We got 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. Let's talk Super Bowl. Hey, bigger win on the field or off the field, big dog? That's tough. He's winning. Well, I'm with you, man. I'm with you because I'm going with a winner too. And it's Patrick Mahomes. He was not supposed to be here. He was not supposed to be here. You lose the game to the Raiders, and the Raiders scored 2 defensive touchdowns. Your team was going like this, trending like this. He was not supposed to be here. You've never been on the road to play a playoff game, let alone you're going to see Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the cold who already beat you in the regular season. Then you're going to see the #1 team in the National Football League, the Baltimore Ravens, and Patty Mahomes delivered time after time after time after time. Patrick Mahomes is going to another Super Bowl, and I ain't gonna lie, I doubt it. I was one of the ones on TV. This chemistry with the receivers is good. It ain't gonna get fixed. These receivers dropping the football is done. It ain't gonna get fixed. Daddy stood up there at the podium every single week. He ain't pointing the finger at nobody. You know what? He ain't pointing the finger at nobody. I respect you for that, James. You know what I'm saying? You say a lot of wild stuff. You don't never say a good one. So I like that. A lot of wild stuff. I said this wild stuff. Okay. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, man, on their way to another Super Bowl. I did not think they would be there. And he is here. Kudos to Patrick Mahomes. I love it. Well, speaking of saying wild stuff, a coach was more honest than I've ever heard a coach be at a podium. Dan Campbell after the loss. He said some real words. I'm at the desk, and I'm the only one happy coming after a break on this one. Put up the fight of my life. Here's what Dan Campbell comments. That's all. Get it right. Niners down 17, and it was a historical comeback. Remember, teams were 2-18 and trailing by 17 or more at halftime of a championship game until Brock Purdy, until Mr. Irrelevant, until this year's San Francisco 49ers team changed the most polarizing conversation in all the sports. It's a conversation surrounding Brock Purdy. We got that cleaned up. Yeah, I got it. See a shot. Just make it.
That was nice.
Did you clean it?
Yeah, you see me.
I ain't see nothing. I'm gonna ask.
Hold me on, bro. You see me down there.
Oh, you say you ain't got no vision? We'll discuss that later. You saying the whole decade running back ain't got no vision?
Shady, did Brock Purdy prove he's a franchise quarterback? Does your vision work enough to see that?
What you looking for? AC's on. Turn AC. It's cold as hell here. I got this question from AJ, the producer. But yeah, I'm thinking like, man, hell yeah. Why not? But what's the definition of a franchise player or a franchise quarterback? Right? So right now, for a second. If I say, yo, you think Patrick Mahomes will be a franchise quarterback on any team? Yeah, right? Josh Allen, right? Burrow, even Lamar for a lot of teams. So I asked you about Brock Purdy. Yo, you think he'd be a franchise quarterback on any team in football? What would your answer be? Niners fan. I know you're a Niner guy. Don't go. I'm gonna be real here. No, I'm being serious. What would you say? Seriously, not any team. No, I would say about 12 teams. And that's that was my point, right? It was a quick answer. Yeah, but then I thought about it. Like, I gotta say it like this. I think that the Niners found their franchise quarterback. But the same as a franchise guy? Nah. Because my franchise dude, right, is a pro bowler. My franchise dude is a guy that can play on any scheme, any system. And it's a guy that most teams would probably want to trade for, right? Because I was like, man, maybe he's in the same category as Jared Goff. And I'm like, is he? Because Jared Goff is the type of quarterback where I think he ain't great. He's really, really good. Playing different systems. And I think teams would trade for him to be that piece for the team, right? So, I mean, I don't know. Let me help you.
But you agree, though. But you agree. No, I think Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback. Now, I don't think he can be a franchise quarterback for all 32 teams. We'll go through it. I said not every team.
So are you with me against me?
There's a nuance to it because I think that Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow will be great for any team. But the reason I think Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback, not just the Niners franchise quarterback, is he's now proven to all of us that he can run his offense incredibly well. So if you are the coach, construct an offense that he can run incredibly well. That's why I'm sitting with it. Jimmy Garoppolo was different. Jimmy Garoppolo was limited with his legs. Jimmy Garoppolo was limited with his arms. So you need an offense where he has to get the ball out because he cannot use his legs. But Brock Purdy has shown you he has the ability to use his legs. Brock Purdy has shown you he has the ability to throw the deep ball. Brock Purdy has shown you he has the ability to come back from down 17 in the championship game. He has the ability to come back from down 7 in the divisional game. Brock Purdy has shown you he can win in the rain. Brock Purdy has shown you he can win in the sun. Brock Purdy has shown you he can come back from an injury. An injury so substantial that it is to his throwing arm, and he can come back and beat every team that made the playoffs in this conference the following year. So the reason he's a franchise quarterback, not just their franchise quarterback, is because he's proven to me he can run an offense incredibly well. So if you are a head coach, give him an offense. I also believe those Niners do have an incredibly talented offensive roster. There are about 8 to 10 offenses that have 2 really good wide receivers and a good running back. So I'm like, I think Brock Purdy could run any of those teams incredibly well. Now, if you're a team that is void of talent, no, I don't think Brock Purdy can win if you're void of talent.
That's the case. Not to, cut into your tape, but like, how can you say he's a franchise guy, not just for Niners, but for everybody, when you're saying that it has to be a particular team for him to run his system?
Because I believe there are only 2 or 3 quarterbacks like that. I don't even love, I'm not going to derail it by saying who I don't love, but I'll say Mahomes is the only one, I think, just no talent. And even when we say no talent, he does still have maybe the greatest tight end in history. Yeah, when we say he's kind of has pretty well gained out of these 2 teams, that's what I'm saying.
And they gonna want him too.
Yes, agreed.
I don't know who's going to be breaking down the door. He'll be there probably with a Super Bowl. I don't know if kids will be their man first. They get him if he's available. I don't see that.
Yeah, I think he is a franchise quarterback for the 49ers. Either Kyle Shanahan is a genius or he's not.
He is.
Then we can't.
Andy Reid's a genius too.
Let's for the conversation's sake, let's go and get
You're crazy. Can we leave him out of it? Just leave him out of it. I heard you heard they leave him out of it.
Let's leave Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Hey, that was Chris for the show. It's not your fault.
Because you're not comparing Kyle Shanahan and Andy Reid, of course.
Sean McVay's a genius. Offensively, I believe Kyle Shanahan is a genius.
Yeah, yes, but we're not comparing Kyle Shanahan to Andy Reid.
I would, but I would understand how you roll with not. But what Kyle Shanahan is doing, you're talking about.
Yo, you serious? You're crazy today.
We'll pause now. We'll get to that tomorrow. We don't remember you said that though. There's only one Patrick Mahomes. There's only one Andy Reid. I think that Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback for the 49ers. I do think he would have some success in some other systems as well. I don't know it would be at such a high level because I also feel like, because we keep saying it, the Niners have built defense first.
Yeah.
When their defense struggles, the offense really struggles. When the defense struggles, we immediately blame the defense, including the head coach. So it is defense first. It's not an offense to Kyle Shanahan. In fact, it's a compliment that he feels that he needs to build his team that way. That's what we're saying, is that he said he doesn't really need a franchise quarterback because he develops other talent around him. So that's why I do think that Brock Purdy is a franchise quarterback. I feel exactly the same way about Brock Purdy that I felt about Jalen Hurts. He answered questions that we had. He got his team to the biggest game of the year. He works perfectly in the system. He has a bunch of talent around him. He has a generational defense. He has big-time playmakers. They got to the Super Bowl. In fact, Jalen Hurts was a little but it's fine. He's like Jalen Hurts.
No, I just feel like we're hyping some things up.
We're hyping up the San Francisco defense.
They're not generational.
Okay, fine. They're not generational. They're super duper good. They're really, really. What? We ain't gonna get through this thing, but go ahead, James.
I'm done with it. Once again, she's trying to get in there with it. I'm done with it.
Expedia, all your trip, all in one place. Download the app.
you mentioned the quarterback of the 49ers. I mean, what a contrast. They had kind of the lovable meathead in Jimmy Garoppolo that nobody trusted to go out there and seize the day. And then you've got this boy next door who's like I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. It's not going to get a 1-minute clip that's going to get on Twitter and we're going to get dragged all day. But he just doesn't seem like the guy that's going to come and, beat you up and take your lunch money.
I hear you.
Right? It's just he seems innocent. He seems innocuous.
Oh, totally.
He seems harmless.
Right.
And then he will kill you. Right? I'm going to tell you during the break what I'm thinking of. I ain't saying it on the air. But I'm going to tell you during the break what I'm thinking of when I think of Brock Purdy. But he's capable. And the other side about it is, he seems like the nicest guy in the world.
Yep.
And there's this weird media fight between the pro-Brock Purdy mafia that wants to put him in the Hall of Fame for crying out loud based on 2 seasons. And then the other side that's like, he sucks. It's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Neither of you are right.
Right.
The guy's a work in progress.
Right.
This is his opportunity. If he's going to step onto the biggest stage and thrive, this is it. He's going against Patrick Mahomes. He's getting a chance to do something that Tom Brady and nobody else has really done to Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow did it because they left a crack open when it was 21-3 in the AFC Championship. But that's the universe of guys who can handle Patrick Mahomes in the highest stakes of games. It's Tom Brady, who did it twice, and Joe Burrow, who did it once. What's Brock Purdy going to do?
I know.
And that's the thing that makes this game more intriguing than the one from 4 years ago, the Brock Purdy factor. What's he going to do in this moment, and nobody knows.
Right. It doesn't look like he should be in the same conversation with those guys, to your point. Brady and Burrow versus Mahomes, like that. With Brock Purdy, right? Right. But we know he's playing better at a higher level than Jimmy Garoppolo was when they were in the Super Bowl. But yeah, you see him here. I mean, this looks like my 11th grade social studies teacher walking into school for the day. Like, oh, hey, Mr. Purdy, how are you? He's like the young, new teacher in school that everybody likes. And, everybody's like, oh, wait, we got a cool young teacher. He can talk to us, and he likes sports. That's what he looks like right there. And he's like, all right, class, get your books out.